Welcome back, Laker fans, to the Purple Blood Lakers podcast for Laker fans by Laker fans. We are going to review game 23 versus the Atlanta Hawks. A loss by 1 point in overtime, but overall a good game. Some mistakes down the stretch, but contributions from across the board. We just lost to a team that's kind of on the rise while we are really struggling with injuries. That's my summary. Um, the game was competitive. I think we competed throughout. Um, I think probably the biggest positive takeaway is LeBron is fully back. Excellent game. 39 points, 10 rebounds, 11 assists. And AD was right behind him with 38, 10, and 8. But AD was disappointing more so down the stretch. There were a couple plays that should have been different in terms of making winning plays at the end of games. And as a team, we really got to be careful about making a habit of losing games. And AD has been critical in either free throws or getting tied up or just making mistakes down the stretch. And so that'll be something we'll be watching closely going forward. But the rest of the team played well. We had Gabe start in place of the injured Austin Reeves. I think Gabe gave us 12 points. And Dalton Knecht remained in the starting lineup and came up with 14, which was nice to see. But from a usage perspective, I'm going to talk about how we might have a chance to get better with the team that we have. Um, but staying focused on the game, I've mentioned before. By the way, Donna is who's always right is still out. She got back this morning, I think, but she came in on a late flight, so she didn't really catch the game. So she told me to go solo. I invited our guests, but they seem to have been busy today. Um, but I think we are at a place where sometimes you lose a game, especially on a losing streak, and you really desperately want to win, and you can see it and taste it and smell it, and you give it away at the end like two or three times. It's frustrating, and you want to come after the team and figure out who did something wrong and everything like that. I do think we got some work to do with our offense and our defense in terms of schemes. But our double teaming on the ball worked a little bit better this time. We still gave up a couple wide open threes from that, but we're not accepting switches always easily like we were when this losing streak started. So I think we're sort of back to being a good team, and we're a long ways from being a championship team. But I think we can be a better team, and so I'll get into that in a bit. Let's start with the dog of the game. Um, it's tempting, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to have to give it to D'Lo. 2 for 4 from three. That's great. But three assists, two turnovers, three made shots on 9 attempts in 20 minutes. Not going to get it done when you got so many injuries. You can't just relax and be whatever D'Lo you want to be. You got to step up your game when your teammates are hurt, and he didn't do that. And I guess there's a tie for dog of the game with Cam Reddish, who came in, gave us 20 minutes, and gave us, I think, a block and a turnover or steal. One offensive rebound. Let's see what else he did. Three rebounds total, three assists. Oh no, I'm sorry. Yeah, one steal and one block for Cam Reddish. I was looking at D'Angelo by mistake. So yeah, that's not gonna get it done. Cam was looking really good when he was starting. We were really hopeful that he might, be the guy we thought he could be when we got him. And he has reverted to just playing timid. A couple good defensive plays, but we need more out of Cam. We're gonna need more out of Cam, or he's gonna fall off the rotation as soon as somebody comes back. Um, Good game from Christie. Like the fact that he I like the six fouls. Gabe Vincent had five fouls. I don't like when we get blown out and guys got two or three fouls. I think when you're getting beaten, you should put a hurt on guys. When people are launching threes, Tyler Hero in Miami hit 9 threes. No one ever touched him. I remember when Kobe got 81, 82, 81 in Toronto. After the game, Michael Jordan said, "There's no way that I'm gonna have." Two, three fouls while my man is going nuts like that. And I think he was really criticizing. I think the guy was Rose at the time, Jalen Rose. And that's a competitor speaking. Fouls serve more than one purpose. It's letting the guy know, look, I'm here, man. You're not just gonna go nuts on me. And I think too often the Lakers are letting things happen and not letting the other team feel us. And so I'm glad to see Christie get six fouls. He fouled out. We needed him, but you know, um, that's better than playing passively. Another good game by Rui Hachimura, and I'm going to get into usage, where I think that Rui could probably help us a lot more. 6 shots for Rui, made five. 11 shots for Dalton, he made six. 25 shots for LeBron and 27 for AD. Um, I'm going to suggest that we uh, lower that, and I'm going to go and get into the statistics that I think justify it. So, positive takeaways. LeBron is back. I think he might have had the best game a 39-year-old ever had. Crazy triple double, extremely effective. AD played well too. So it's nice to see both of our stars have the kinds of games we need from them to win. But now I'm going to get into what I think we need to do to uh, lessen our dependence on them, not only for having a better season, but also having a better future. I think we do have some good players, and I think we're star dominant by choice and by habit. And I'm going to recommend to the coaching staff that we lower, especially LeBron James's usage and minutes. LeBron played 43 minutes as a 39-year-old man. And you might say we wouldn't have had a chance without him playing those 43 minutes. But I think as a team, we would probably serve ourselves well to take whatever losses we have to take to increase the usage of Rui, who's missed one shot for the last 3 games straight. Um, let's let Rui shoot some more. And then Dalton, 11 shots for a guy that's capable of getting 37. Um, I want some of those Rip Hamilton, LeBron, I mean, excuse me, Steph Curry picks, where the whole team is setting up a fence for Dalton to get his shot off. Um, and there's a lot of two-man games going on between LeBron and Anthony. And yeah, they're both doing great in the stat sheet per game, triple doubles and all that. But I'm going to look at something a little different. I'm going to look at offensive rating, which is essentially points produced per 100 possessions. And where we rank in the league, each player, amongst all the players in the league, of which there are probably 400, I think. And then I'm going to look at defensive rating and net rating and see where our players land. So our number one offensive rating player is Dalton Knecht with 107. He's ranked 107. D'Lo is 110. It's the next Laker on the chart. AD is 136. Rui is 146. Austin is 156. Jackson Hayes is 199. Gabe is 209. LeBron James is 238 in offensive rating. You think, how is that possible? Well, offensive rating looks at points produced per 100 possessions, taking into account made and missed free throws, made and missed shots, and turnovers. And then comes Cam and Max closing you out with 244 and 271. Now let's look at defensive rating. Number one is D'Lo. Now, if you had told anyone at the beginning of the year that D'Lo would lead the team in defensive rating, they would have been shocked. No, number one with 113, and this rating is a actually um, points allowed per 100%. And I talked about rank. That's not. I don't think that's absolute rank in players. I think that's actually the number, the points produced per 100 possessions that I recorded there. And so similarly for defensive rating, D'Lo's 113. Number two on our team is Gabe with 115.1. Number three is Jax with 115.3. Number four is Rui with 115.8. So people are saying Rui needs to step up on defense. I think he has. Fifth is Austin Reeves, 116.1. I do see Austin hustling quite a bit on defense. And so it's nice to see the numbers kind of bear it out. We're not great by any stretch. We're not on the first page of this stat. None of our players. But the guy that is complaining that he's not defensive player is sixth on his home team in defensive rating at 116.7. Seventh is Max at 117.6. Eighth is Knecht at 118. And ninth, LeBron James at 118.2. With Cam, our defensive ace, is the worst defensive rating on our team at 119.1. That's points allowed per 100 possessions in an extremely complicated formula. It takes into account quite a few stats. And then you basically subtract these two to get your net rating. It's not quite that simple, but it is. And number one on our team in net rating is D'Lo at 1.4. He's our only positive player in net rating. Number two is Rui. Number three is Dalton Knecht. Number four is Austin Reeves. Number five is AD. Number six is Jax. Seven is Gabe. Eight is LeBron at negative 8.4. And ninth is Cam at negative 9.4. And 10th is Max at negative 9.6. And I corrected myself, but now I know for a fact these are the rankings that I listed for offensive rating. This is where our players ranked relative to the other players. Obviously, it's not the actual offensive rating if Max is at 271. So apologies for that. But the defensive rating was the actual rating that I recorded. And so what story am I learning from these numbers? I'm learning that LeBron's usage is a mistake by our team. Now, this gets into the politics of NBA basketball. If LeBron is not breaking records, getting triple doubles, looking amazing as a 39-year-old player, you're going to have a hard time filling the seats. I think that's the theory. And so, we didn't draft Bronny James because he was the best player on the board. Clearly, he was not. We drafted Bronny James because LeBron James wanted us to draft Bronny James. And Bronny James got the kind of contract that keeps him on the bench with his dad because that's what LeBron wanted. And Bronny James only plays G League home games because not because that's best for Bronny's development, not because that's best for the Lakers. That's best for the James family. Now, I don't disagree with that. I think I've mentioned this before. I think they might have made that call from a safety perspective. Having Bronny James stand at the Holiday Inn on the road when he stands to inherit, however many millions of dollars. I think I'd probably make that same call as a father and as the head of the organization, knowing who that kid really is. And so that might have been what drove that. I'm not mad about that. But we can all, as Laker fans, be mad about the roster spot because we need everybody, given how many injuries we're suffering from, and now Bronny's injured too. But what I want to talk about is LeBron's usage rate and how I think, looking at the team that we just lost an overtime game to, Trae Young changed his game. He scores less. He got 20 assists last night. And he has shifted his focus from scoring to distributing to the betterment of his team. He's surrounded by some dogs. We use the dog in two ways on this podcast, but I'm talking about dog in the best sense of the word. He's surrounded by great defensive players that can put the ball in the basket. And that's a team that I think is on the rise like Houston was last year. And look at them this year. Um, so that move, uh, shift in emphasis, not subtle, huge shift, made the Hawks a better team. They're still not a great team, but they're getting more out of the players that they invested time and money in. And that's where I think the Lakers have fallen down during the Genie Bus era, which is the LeBron James, Anthony Davis clutch era, the Rob Pelinka era. We have fallen over ourselves trying to surround Bron with the talent that he needs to win a chip every year. And in doing so, we've made our team worse and worse by not developing any of the players that have slipped through our grasp um, in favor of giving our veterans a chance. I'm not going to list all the players, but I'll mention a couple. Scottie Pippen Jr., it'd be nice to see him in a Laker uniform. Um, there's one more that comes to mind, but you get my point. Um, we just keep flipping, and Dalton Knecht will be the most tradable chip, uh, you know, for the next several off seasons, and I would hate to see that guy go. We have hung on to Austin Reeves. We've invested in Austin Reeves, and I think it's paid off. And I think if we had Austin, these last few games would have looked better. Um, but Max Christie is a rental that started last year. He's a veteran. He's fine. He's no better or worse than some of the other veterans that have come through here. Um, Trying to be that piece that helps Bron and Davis get championship rings. But I think the championship era for LeBron James and Anthony Davis is over. We won't get a ring this year, and the chances of LeBron and AD being even better next year are pretty much zero. And so, as a Laker organization, it's time for us to focus on the future. And for me, that means more shots for Rui Hachimura. You don't develop just by being on the court, standing around watching either LeBron ISO or LeBron and AD play two-man basketball and just, hope that your cuts, his cuts are productive. But I think it comes from the coaching that we just don't disturb when Bron's down there doing work. Um, and invest now in Dalton Knecht by getting him shots, not just um, giving him minutes and hoping that he can find his own shot or hoping that, coming off the one screen, he can be open. Teams are not as susceptible to one screen as they used to be. It's going to take several screens to get a shooter open these days. Watch Golden State play and put Dalton in some of that kind of action. I'm not saying all game long. I'm saying if he's gotten 11 shots in an overtime game, I'd like to see him get 15 to 16 shots in a four-quarter game. So it's just a stepping up that number. I think when um, Austin comes back from injuries, he is where he needs to be. I think we have developed him. Um, but LeBron being the focal point of the offense is not a it's not worth it this year in terms of the fact that we will not win a chip, and um, it's not the right thing to do for the future of our team. Um, and so I don't want to see us trade away Rui, who needs to stay here and continue to develop. Big Body Rui should be a part of the Lakers' future. I believe. If you're going to trade Rui, you better get something really good in return. Um, And then I think Max Christie's got some potential, but if you had to make a trade, I wouldn't mind letting go of Max. Uh, for whatever reason, he's not where he needs to be right now. Probably because we didn't invest in him last year and get him the development that he needs. another year where championship was beyond our grasp. I'm ready to see D'Lo go. Love the offensive rating, defensive rating. Well, defensive rating, no. Actually, defense, he's number one. My bad. Offensive, he's number two. Net rating is number one. Love all that, but it seems like a fluke of the numbers to me when you watch him play. He doesn't feel like a Laker to me. Um, um, Laker players are winning players. That's why we win so many games. And so I'm okay with him leaving. Um, Cam hasn't worked out. I can't wait for Vando to be gone. I don't think Wood is a Laker. Um, but rather than replacing those pieces with other aging veterans that are going to end up with significant time off from injuries, I'd like to see us get younger. I'd like to see us invest in players, uh, hire a coaching staff that um, knows how to develop players, knows how to develop young players and make them into NBA players. I hope we still have a good scouting organization. We used to have the best. Um, and if we don't, then we need to work on that too, because that's a part of building the future Lakers. But I'm ready to move past this era. I want Jeannie to stay in charge. Everybody loves Jeannie. Um, so I don't, I'm not necessarily mad at Jeannie, but if she's committed to Rob, then I'm gonna have to look at her. Uh, because Rob has made more mistakes than good things happen. You're gonna give Magic Johnson credit for LeBron James and Anthony Davis by extension. Um, and then what has Rob done for us? We got Austin. Um, I think we had a good draft that first Bron year with LaMelo Ball, who's number two in offensive rating in the league. Um, I think not LaMelo, I'm sorry, Lonzo Ball. Uh, I think Kuz was a nice selection in the second round. Uh, I really like Kuz. I think he's a really cool guy. But as a basketball player, I'd love to see him break past 33% from three. Um, so I don't want him back. Brandon Ingram was a nice pick. We got players that we pulled in players that uh, do good work throughout the league. Um, but our turnover has been ineffective. Wouldn't you like to have KCP still in the Laker uniform? Oh, no. Anyway. So that's my statement of what the Lakers need to do. Now let's move on to our next segment, which is NBA rumors. I'm laughing about there's a Gilbert Arenas podcast about what happened to the Lakers in Miami, and by extension, they predicted what would happen in Atlanta. They were wrong. I think we brought the energy in Atlanta. We just lost the game, but it's hard to ignore the reasoning they put behind our breakdown in Miami. It was hilarious, and if you haven't seen it, you might want to go check it out. Basically, they're saying that we spent too much time enjoying the Miami nightlife before the game. NBA players tend to know about these things. And then the last thing I'll talk about is the league rank of the Lakers. It started with Sid the Kid, who brought up our offensive rank. We are 12th in offense, 26th defensive rating in the league out of 30 teams, 24th net rating, 24th offensive rebounding, 27th defensive rebounding, 26th rebounding overall. Um, there are no trades that will fix those problems. I've heard some interesting trades that might get us uh, the two players from the same team. There's always talk about Val Valanciunas. Um, but anyway, I can't remember anymore who what some of these trades were. But a lot of them rely on us giving up picks. I don't see anybody that's available to us that I would spend any of those future picks on. We need to keep our picks and get our chips the old-fashioned way by getting great players, developing them, and uh, developing a winning culture with a great coach. And I think JJ is part of the LeBron experiment, and so him and his head coaches, excuse me, assistant coaches, his head coach, assistant coaches. Um, I really wish we'd gotten a fresh new face in here. But maybe it would have been tarnished by what this year is going to turn out looking like, probably. So next year, I'd like to see Rob replaced. Um, I'd like to see Bron announce his retirement. Let's give him the grand tour while reducing his usage and turn him into an assist guy. It's hard to argue that he's not getting assists when he's getting triple doubles, but let's get him up to more assists. Let's get him 14, 15 assists and break some assist records on his way out. But watching him launch threes because there's no time left on the clock because he dribbled for 15 seconds is just, I'm done with it. Okay. Next up, Sunday, we are playing. I never have this ready. You guys should be mad at me for that. Uh, Here it comes. So next up is Sunday versus the Trailblazers. As you know, my kids and I spent 5 years in Portland, going to quite a few games, having pretty decent seats, being in boxes and so forth. And so we kind of think of the Portland Trailblazers as our second team. My daughter loves Dame, and therefore she's a Bucks fan now. And so we know the Blazers and their history, and they're just a sad team right now. Um, and so if the Lakers can't beat the Blazers, I'd be shocked. But if they do, just like beating the Hawks wouldn't have been a reason for us to start celebrating. Beating the Blazers won't be easy, won't be either. And so um, I expect us to win after all these losses. I think it's a home game, and hopefully it'll at least lock in our turnaround effort, which I think started with the Hawks game. I think the turnaround in effort started with the Hawks, and I hope it continues. If we can keep putting out effort, then I can keep enjoying this podcast. All right, Laker fans, you have witnessed the Purple Blood Lakers podcast for Laker fans, by Laker fans. Let's hope Don, who's always right, is back by Sunday. Go Lakers.